Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today, this is our second episode in our superhero event. This is Batman from 1989, which is an action-adventure film. It has a 7.5 on 308,391 votes. The spoiler-free synopsis: having witnessed his parents' brutal murder as a child, millionaire philanthropist Bruce Wayne fights crime in Gotham City disguised as Batman, a costumed hero who strikes fear into the hearts of villains. But when a deformed madman who calls himself the Joker seizes control of Gotham's criminal underworld, Batman must face his most ruthless nemesis ever while protecting both his identity and his love interest, reporter Vicki Vale.
That's a good synopsis.
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that. So, director. It's one of my favorite directors of all time, by the way. It's directed by Tim Burton. And he's done a lot of directing films, actually. I'm just going to pick, a couple. He directed Beetlejuice, which also stars our actor in this. Big Fish. And he is directing, and is just coming out this year, Dumbo.
Yeah, which that'll be good.
I'm excited to see that. That should be good. And it stars Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and Kim Basinger.
Which I think it's funny, pretty much after Michael Keaton got done playing Batman, he just went and played a whole bunch of villains.
Oh, I would too. You're like, ugh, gotta get away from that.
Yeah.
89 and Beetlejuice came out in 88, so, yeah. I mean, Keaton's really familiar with Tim Burton, so it's helped a lot.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to say is the creators of Batman, Bob Kane and Bill Finger. A lot of people don't know that. I mean, if you know Batman, you know that they did. But the two of them are the ones who created Batman in 1939.
39, because that's part of my trivia.
Sorry.
You're good. No, you're good. Gotcha.
I just wanted to point that out because a lot of people don't know that those are the creators.
It does say that on here a little bit. On IMDb.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times they credit Bob Kane, but they don't credit Bill Finger. He gets forgotten a lot. So I just wanted to point the two of them out. So, Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. Metacritic, the rating on this is a 69. The average rating on Rotten Tomatoes is a 6.6. The tomato score is a 71%. 70 critics reviewed it, 50 of them found it fresh, 20 rotten. So, to fresh, Ron Pennington. Batman is a stunning achievement, especially through the incredible and unique visualization of director Tim Burton.
Yep, agreed. I always forget that Tim Burton directed this. I do. I'll admit that.
Oh, I don't.
I forget. Half the time. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Burton film. Yeah, that explains it.
Because he directed this one and Batman Returns, and I wish he had directed Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, because those would have been much better movies. I'll move on. Carrie Rickey. It's an unforgivably flat ending for a movie of such astonishing contours, but its first two-thirds, which should be called The Joker's Big Misadventure, is probably the best film of the year. I will agree that it is kind of a little bit of a boring ending, especially now that we've got so many other superhero movies that end in such a big way. This one just kind of ends. So there is that.
Yeah, it does.
So 2 rotten. Sheila Benson. Is it interesting? Fitfully. Is it fun? Not much. Gotham City fans, not much.
Okay.
I don't agree with that, but I'll explain why when we get to initial thoughts. PJ Navarro. Other than its presence as a pop cultural milestone, this won't go down as one of the better superhero movies, nor even one of the best in the Batman cinematic canon. All of that is true. I don't have anything to argue with on that. It's not one of the best superhero movies, and it's not one of the best Batman movies.
What's the best? Well, I mean, now, but back then, what did you think? Because there's been more Batman movies, but we have like 3 of them on our list.
Yeah. I don't know back then, because this one is from recently. It's not from then.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, there wasn't much.
No, honestly, superhero movies were just kind of on the back burner until they did this Batman movie. And then they got picked up again for the 4 of these, and then the Superman movies, and these came out around the same time. And then they stopped for a little while again, and then they did the Dark Knight movies. And then that's when superhero movies just kind of hit the fan and everybody wanted them.
I mean, there's the older Superman movies, too.
Yeah.
There's those, but...
Yeah, those came out. They started coming out a little bit before these. So, the critics' consensus, an eerie, haunting spectacle, Batman succeeds as dark entertainment, even if Jack Nicholson's Joker too often overshadows the title character. I
think that's how it is with the Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, the Joker character just, like, kind of takes everything over.
He does, except in Suicide Squad.
But we're not going to talk about Suicide Squad, are we?
So, the income. The budget for this was $35 million. The gross U.S. was $251,188,924. The gross international, $160,160,000, for a total worldwide of $411,348,924. And on its opening weekend, it made $40,489,746. And it opened in 2,194 theaters. It was there for 175 days, a total of 25 weeks. Its all-time domestic rank is number 118, and its highest all-time rank, it achieved September 17th, 1989, the rank of number 5.
That is, well, 5?
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny that it was September 17th, because that's my birthday. I was born 4 years later.
That is your birthday. Yeah, that is your birthday. Well, look at that.
See, it's destined.
Destined for you to be a Batman fan.
So, the awards that this has won, it won 1 Oscar, and it had 8 other awards and 26 other nominations. So the Oscar that it won was for Best Art Direction and Set Direction. The Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, it won the President's Award. The ASCAP Film and Television Award. Most Performed Songs from a Motion Picture, Prince won that.
I can see that.
Yeah, he did a lot of music for this. The BMI Film and TV Awards, Danny Elfman won the Music Award.
Of course, when you think of Tim Burton, you think of Danny Elfman.
Of course. The Brit Awards, Best Soundtrack. Evening Standard British Film Awards. The Best Technical Artistic Achievement. Grammy Awards, Best Instrumental Composition for the Batman theme. People Choice Awards, Favorite Motion Picture, Favorite Dramatic Motion Picture. And it tied for that one with the Steel Magnolias from 1989.
Steel Magnolias, they're like completely opposite of each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, Steel Magnolias is like one of the saddest movies I've ever seen. And Batman's not.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. It can be sad. It's not very sad, but it can be sad.
It's not Steel Magnolias.
Yeah, that's true. So, initial thoughts. I'll let you go first.
Oh, man, I don't remember the first time I watched this. It's been a really long time. I remember I liked it.
I vividly remember the first time I watched it.
Well, it's Batman. Of course you would. I'm just trying to think. I'm like, I remember watching it, and I remember I liked it, and I was like, huh, Batman. Because it's like one of my first introductions into like the superhero world. So,
yeah.
I really liked it. And then I didn't realize that it was Michael Keaton playing Batman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay.
That's funny.
I like Michael Keaton's work. So, and of course, Jack Nicholson. I mean,
oh yes,
amazing. So I like it.
Okay, so I know that this is not one of the best Batman movies, and I know that a lot of people don't like it, but this is the first Batman movie that I saw. I had seen the animated series when I was little. The first time I watched this, I was at my cousin's house, and she's a lot older than I am, so it's my second cousin, so she's a lot older than I am. She had these, and I was like, can we watch these? So it's one of those really old TVs where there's not a remote, you have to get up and change the dial and everything, and we had to change it to be able to watch it, turn it on the Batman movie, and I was just so entranced by it, because I had already seen the animated series at this point, so I knew who Batman was, but this was the first, like, cinematic thing I'd seen, and I was just like, I loved it. Like, I wanted everything to do with it, and then I remember, a little bit later, when Batman and Robin came out, and, when I was little, I loved all of them. I didn't care. I was Batgirl one year for Halloween.
Just 1 year?
Yeah, just 1 year. But yeah, I love this movie. Even though I know it's not one of the best ones, I just love it. I think that's all I've got for initial thoughts.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
That was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then come back after you've watched it. So, we start off, the intro credits are kind of like over this, it seems like a stone thing, and it's like going in and out of the curves and everything, and then it pulls up at the end and it's the bat symbol, which I think is one of the coolest intros in the world, but I mean, that's just me. But then it shows that we're in Gotham City, and there's this guy and his wife and his kid, and the guy has no idea where he's going.
Of course not.
And so the kid's got the map out, and he's like, oh, we need to go that way. And the kid's like, the dad's like, put that map away, because everybody think we're tourists. So then they go down this alley, and they get attacked. And if you don't know anything about Batman, then you have no idea what relevance this has. But, I mean, everyone knows that Batman's parents were mugged and killed when he was little.
Yes.
And so you see the relevance of this. And when I first watched it, I was like, oh, they're just going to go straight on the bat and show you, like, what happened. But then you realize, oh, this isn't it, because Batman shows up and, like, stops these people.
Yeah, he shows up.
And takes the loot from the guys that robbed these two people. And they ask him who he is, and I think it's forever and always will be one of the best lines ever. They ask him who he is, and he goes, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Yeah.
Very simple, but to the point.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure literally every Batman except for Adam West has said, I'm Batman.
I think so.
So then we see the district attorney, and they're talking, him and the mayor are talking about Gotham's anniversary, 200th anniversary of Gotham City. And one thing that I don't like from going from this one going on to later on when they have Two-Face is this district attorney, this is Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
But they changed the actor from this movie to the movie where they have Two-Face. And I don't like that they changed the actor, because I liked this guy as Harvey Dent. He did a really good job. We see Jack Napier, that's this guy's name, and he's watching the ceremony, and he's not very happy. He's never really happy.
Nah.
But so, then we go, there is a crime scene, and Jack comes up, and he's talking to a detective named Eckhart, and Jack is paying the detective because that detective is on Jack's boss's payroll.
Yeah.
So he pays him and gets information and stuff that he needs. Then we jump and we see Vicki Vale. She is talking to a reporter named Knox.
Mm-hmm. Alexander.
Yep. I just call him Knox, because that's what everybody else calls him. But she wants in on the Batman article because she thinks it's interesting.
Yeah, she's like new to it, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, she just showed up in Gotham, so she has heard about the Batman, but she doesn't know a lot about him, so she wants in on it.
Makes sense.
So she starts working with Knox on this, and that becomes their main focus throughout the movie, is who is Batman. So then we see Jack meeting with his boss. His boss's name is Carl. But so he's meeting with his boss, and his boss is giving Jack a job to do. And he tells him that he needs to go to Axis Chemicals, and that's where his job is going to be at. They're going to rob Axis Chemicals. So he sends Jack off on his way, and then Carl calls the cops and informs Lieutenant Eckhart of what Jack is about to do.
Like, what a little snitch.
Yeah, because we have already kind of seen it a little bit, but Carl's girlfriend is also on the side seeing Jack, and Carl has just found out about this, so Carl wants Jack dead because of it, so that's what that's about.
It's all over a woman. Of course.
So then we're at Bruce Wayne's manor at a party, and like everybody is there.
Well, of course. It's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Knox and Vicki Vale kind of show up and just kind of crash the party. They're not supposed to be there, but they crash it anyways. And it's funny, Alfred brings Knox a drink, and Knox tips him. And Vicki Vale's like walking around, and she's looking for Bruce Wayne, and she keeps asking people. And then she goes up to Bruce and asks him, which we don't actually know quite yet that this is Bruce. But she asks him, who is Bruce Wayne? And he's like, I don't know.
Classic.
Vicki Vale walks away, and Bruce is following. This is where we really learn that it's Bruce. Bruce is following Vicki because he's like really curious about her. And then you see Alfred following Bruce and picking up all of his stuff. Like, he gets a glass of champagne, and then he sets it down on the poker table, and like he's just setting stuff down where it's not supposed to go. So you just see Alfred following him, picking up stuff.
Of course. Because that's Alfred's job.
Yeah.
He's got to keep an eye on him.
Yeah. So Knox is prying all the police people, like the commissioner, the DA, like he's prying everybody for information. Like, he just wants some kind of info on Batman. But they won't give it to him. Then we see that the commissioner is getting tipped off with a tip that Carl called in to Eckhart. The commissioner, Gordon, he gets the tip about Jack as well. So he has to leave the party because he's got to go take care of it, because he doesn't want Eckhart to do it because he knows Eckhart's going to do something stupid.
Well, of course. I mean, come on.
I mean, it's Eckhart.
Yeah.
Knox and Vale are just kind of wandering around trying to find Bruce Wayne. And then they wind up in this like showroom where Bruce has got different outfits from different countries on display, and they're like walking around making fun of them all, and Knox goes, look at this guy, he's the king of the wicker people. Bruce is following them, and one of them, Knox is like, well, where's this guy from? And Bruce goes, Japan. And he turns around, well, how'd you know that? I was like, because I bought it in Japan. And then he introduces himself as Bruce.
It's like, oh, hey, I'm Bruce, by the way.
He's, yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne. And Vicki Vale's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah. And then Alfred comes in and tells Bruce that the commissioner had to leave unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. And this is where you, if you don't know anything about Batman, this is where you kind of get the hint that, hey, this is Batman.
Just a little bit.
And then also another funny part is Knox asks Bruce for a grant. So like an endorsement pretty much. And as he's leaving, Bruce tells Alfred to give Knox one. And I'm just like, what the world? So then we see Bruce down in the Batcave. And he's watching a tape of the commissioner talking to the cop that came in, told him about the tip. And so that way he knows where he needs to go. So then it jumps to Axis Chemicals. Eckhart has orders to shoot to kill on Jack. So if he sees Jack Napier, he has orders to kill him. But then Commissioner Gordon shows up and takes charge. And it's just like, this is mine now. Like, you need to not be doing this.
He's like, no, you can't be killing people, you know. Gotta take them alive here.
Yeah. So we do see Jack, he's at the safe and he's got it open and everything, and then he realizes, oh, this was a trap.
It's all set up.
Yeah. So everything starts to go wrong for Jack here.
Yes.
Like, his guys start fighting the cops. Jack's, like, activating all these machines, which is, like, his biggest downfall.
Literally.
And Batman shows up. And kind of takes care of all kinds of stuff. So he's taking care of some goons.
Doing Batman stuff.
Yeah, just pretty much doing Batman stuff. Like you said, like, there's not really much explanation to it. But, so Jack gets a hold of Eckhart and realizes that Carl was basically paying Eckhart to kill him. So he kills Eckhart. And then Jack gets cornered by Batman at one point. And so he shoots at Batman, but he has bulletproof armor, so it ricochets off.
Yeah.
And hits Jack, and he falls into a vat of chemicals. And Batman just kind of leaves. Just like, whoop.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, okay. Batman's hardcore sometimes.
I'll talk about this later, but I have something I have to say about literally every Batman movie.
I know.
So, after Batman leaves Jack, we see Jack's hand kind of come up in the chemical, and it's all white and everything. And it's kind of creepy looking. Then we see Knox and Vale. They're hard at work on their Batman article. You know, just trying to figure out who Batman is. But then Knox is like, well, we can work through and get dinner. And she's like, oh, I can't. I have a date with Bruce Wayne. And he's like, of course. So she goes to the Wayne Manor, and they have their dinner date. And they're eating at this really big table.
Huge.
It's really funny. And then he's like, she's asking him, she's like, do you eat here all the time? He's like, no, I don't ever eat here. So then they go sit in, like, the kitchen. Well, it's not really the kitchen. It's more like the, I guess it is the kitchen. But they go sit in there and have dinner with Alfred, and Alfred's telling little stories about how Bruce was when he was little, and then they're all talking about families and everything, and just kind of having, like, a little good old time there. Then we see this, like, sketchy surgery room.
Yeah.
This guy's doing surgery, and we find out that he was doing surgery on Jack Napier. And he saved his life. And he gives him a mirror, and we kind of see a little bit of his face, and we see the big smile and everything, and then we just...
frozen there.
Yeah. And then we see, or hear the laughing. And I will say, this is one of the better Joker laughs. There have been some bad ones, but this one's a pretty good one.
Can I ask which one's your favorite?
Mark Hamill's.
I was wondering if you're gonna say Mark's.
Yeah, I love Mark Hamill.
Me too.
So, then we jump back, and Bruce and Vicki are flirting and about to go to bed together.
Aw, yeah.
I mean, they're doing a good job of the Playboy Bruce bit. Him immediately, first date, and he's already, like, going to bed with someone. That's...
Why not?
So, Carl is at his office, like, home office thing or something, and Jack shows up. Carl thought Jack was dead. But he's talking to him, and he's kind of in the dark, and you can't really see his face, but then he steps out into the light and shows his face and says, "You can call me Joker." And then he kills Carl.
Yeah. Just going around killing people. Just what the Joker does.
Yeah. That is really what the Joker does. It's like all he does is just kill people.
I mean, he's a freaking lunatic, so of course he's gonna do that.
Yeah. So, then we jump back to Bruce and Vicki, and Vicki wakes up in bed, and Bruce isn't there. But then she turns and sees... I think she sees him. I can't really tell where he's at. I never really got this scene, because I hate this scene. But he's, like, hanging upside down like a bat.
Yeah, that was weird.
And I'm like, no. That's the one thing that, decision-wise, that Tim Burton made that decision, and I'm like, I don't agree with that decision. It's just one thing I just don't get. But
I agree.
So, Joker is coming up with a plan of how to take over Gotham. Because that's his main goal in life, is to be the king of Gotham.
Why not?
And he doesn't really spell out his plan quite yet, but you see that he's formulating a plan. And then Vicki is trying to get Bruce to go on another date with her, but he's like, I'm going to be out of town for a little while. Which really, he doesn't go out of town. He just kind of says he's going to, and then sneaks around, and he follows her. And then she goes and talks to... It's like she's leaving, and she talks to Alfred. She's like, well, I'll see you guys when you get back. And he's like, well, we're not going anywhere.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Yeah. So then we jump to Jack, and he's got makeup on, and he is holding a meeting with Carl Grisham. I've never said his last name, but Grisham. That's his last name. He's holding a meeting with all of his goon people, like all of his employees, pretty much, and saying that he's taking over Carl's company, pretty much. And then one of the guys is like, well, why should we trust you? Carl didn't even like you. Why would he leave it to you? And all this and that. And then so he goes up and he gives the guy a handshake, like, kind of, you know. And he has the buzzer that kills people and, like, shocks the crap out of him, catches him on fire, and kills the guy.
Yeah.
And then everyone else is like, oh, okay.
It's like, this dude's not playing games.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Yeah. So then the Joker's goons come in and threaten the rest of the board until they agree. And then Joker tells his main goon, Bob, which is kind of funny because Mr. Incredible's name is Bob.
Ha! Connections all over the place.
But so he tells Bob to follow Vicki Vale and Knox to find out what he knows about the Batman. And Vicki Vale is already on a mission of her own that has nothing to do with Batman. She wants to know why Bruce lied, and so she's following Bruce. And what you don't quite learn yet, and if you don't know about Batman, you don't know until Vicki Vale learns it, but Bruce goes to the spot where his parents were murdered. But then there is a press conference, jump to a press conference, and this is where Grisham's, like, board people come out and say that he's giving up. Grisham has decided to give up the company and everything. And then we see all kinds of mimes come around. Like, I thought this was the craziest part. When I first saw it, I was like, what in the world is going on? And then the Joker shows up.
Of course.
And he's talking to Vinny, which is the guy that was holding the press conference. He's talking to Vinny, and then he kills Vinny.
Does he stab him in, like, the throat or something?
Yeah, with a pen.
Classic.
Yeah. And then, so Knox is there, of course, because he is a reporter, so he's doing a story on it. And Vicki Vale is also there, and Bruce shows up as well. And Vicki sees Bruce, but doesn't really... She, like, kind of starts to go talk to him, but then the whole craziness with the mimes and everything and Joker killing Vinny breaks out, and so she doesn't really get to her point.
No. A bit distracted there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. So, then we see the news report about what had happened. And Joker is upset with the news report. He's like, I'd do something, and still all they talk about is this stupid Batman.
Yep.
That's pretty much his view on it, and he's upset. And so he's trying to think of a way where they will notice him. And he's still formulating his plan. And so Alfred and Bruce are talking about Vicki. And Alfred's saying that he really likes Vicki and thinks that he's a good match for Bruce. And I'm just like, this is like 5 days into the relationship. What in the world? But anyways.
It's a woman interested in him. I mean, why not?
I mean, it makes more sense knowing about the character of Vicki Vale that they do have a pretty lengthy relationship and intimate relationship, but this one, they don't portray it that way. They just kind of go straight into it. So...
Yeah. So, I mean, if you knew the background information, you'd be like, okay. But most people don't.
Yeah. So then Bruce starts talking about Jack, and he's telling Alfred that he's still alive. And that he wants his background information, like his criminal history and all that. And then Vicki Vale and Alexander Knox are on the phone, and they're talking about Bruce Wayne and why he's like, what's going on with him and all this and that and the other. And then we jump to Joker again, and the Joker has gotten pictures from Bob. The pictures of... So, Joker got the pictures of Vicki Vale and Knox from Bob, and you see he's got like all kinds of pictures all over the place, and he's like cutting them out and everything, and he's being a real creeper.
It's the Joker, of course he's a creeper.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. But then Joker, part of his plan is to take over Axis Chemicals and make his own like chemical to distribute throughout Gotham.
So they die of laughter or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And you never know what what it could possibly be in. And the news is reporting on 2 deaths that have already happened because of these cosmetics.
Huh.
And then the lady, like as she's reporting, it goes to the other guy, and he's like talking about it, and then she just starts laughing, and then kills over and dies.
It's like blah.
Yeah.
Blah. Like South Park, Canadians dying. Blah.
So then we get the, after that happens, the Joker's commercial pops up. And this is where he kind of reveals his plan that he's taken over Axis Chemicals and created a chemical and put it in all of the cosmetics. And you never know what the combination is going to be that could kill you.
He's like, so everyone just probably should stop using that.
Yeah, and so they do. And then we see that Bruce has gotten Jack's file, and he sees that Jack's like a murderer, he's like robbed a bunch of places, like he gets his whole criminal background and everything. And then it jumps to the news, and the DA is kind of basically declaring a state of emergency for Gotham without actually declaring it.
Yeah.
He's just saying that we need to not be using these products because we don't know what's happening.
Yeah. It's like, so just don't use any.
Yeah. But the Joker cuts in and kind of cuts him off and says, I don't trust him. But yeah. So then we see Vicki Vale, and she has a date or something with the with somebody at the art museum. She doesn't know who it is. She just thinks it's someone interested in her portfolio. So she brings it with her. And so she's sitting there at the art museum. The person that she's meeting isn't there yet. But then one of the waiters brings her this mysterious box, and she opens it, and it's got a gas mask inside.
Yeah.
And it's the Joker colors. It's green and purple. But then this gas starts filling up the museum. And...
Of course she's going to put the mask on.
Immediately. And then the Joker comes in, and him and his crew are just, like, vandalizing everything.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Oh.
But there is one painting that the Joker liked, so he left it alone.
He's not that cruel. He saves one, because he likes it.
Yeah.
Really?
But then, so he sits with Vicki and starts looking through her portfolio, and he's like looking through the beginning of it, and it's all like these nice pictures and everything. And then he's like, oh, these are crap. And then he gets to the later ones, and it's like pictures that she's taken in war zones and stuff like that. So it's pictures of death, and he's like, oh, now we're talking. Yeah.
He's a strange man.
Yeah. So then he asks her about Batman. And she's like, I don't really know anything about Batman. Like, I'm trying to find out information about Batman. And that doesn't make him very happy.
No.
So he, like, gets after her. But then Batman comes in and rescues her.
Yes.
And then there's the chase. Batman takes her out to the Batmobile. And then they all get in their cars and start chasing Batman. And then they come to an alley. Batman gets out of the Batmobile and takes her up. Because they kind of crashed it, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's not really crashed to where it's broken. It's just kind of crashed to where it's unusable for the time being.
He'll fix it later.
Yeah. So he, like, takes her up with his grappling hook thing. And then he comes back down and, like, starts fighting the guys. And one of them shoots one of the Joker goons shoots Batman. And then they start to take his mask off.
Yeah.
But Vicki snaps a picture right as they're, like, trying to take it off. So they notice her and she has to go run. And then Batman gets up as they're chasing her. And then Batman and the sword guy, like, there's, like, some samurai sword guy fight. Yeah, it's kind of interesting here. And then Bob runs away because he's like, I don't want nothing to do with this. He's like, I'm not getting killed today.
Yeah.
But then he voice remotes the Batmobile over to him, and
they go away.
Him and Vicki are driving back to the Batmobile, and he doesn't really want Vicki to see who he is, so he's kind of like angling himself away from her. And then he says that he's been testing products and gives her the file on the products that are safe to use and, like, what you can use together, like, based on what has been contaminated with the Joker chemicals.
Yeah.
And then Vicki wakes up in her apartment and has the report. And she calls Knox and says that we need to get this out for the evening edition, and they do. So then, Joker's upset with Batman, of course, because, you know, he ruined his plan.
Of course.
Then we see Bruce, he shows up at Vicki's, and she's, like, all mad at him, because...
He was lying to her?
Yeah. And he's like, I have to tell you something. And he's, like, trying to tell her, but then somebody shows up at the front door, and it's the Joker.
It's like 10 guesses who.
Yeah. Because the Joker's, like, fascinated with her.
Yeah.
So he comes and visits her and says that he is upset that she ran out on their dinner at the museum.
That weird thing that went on there.
Yeah. So then he tells Vicki that Alicia, which is the guy that, Alicia is the woman that he stole from Carl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That she died, that she threw herself out of the window. And I'm like, she probably didn't throw herself out of the window, you probably did it. But...
Or you just pushed her out, you know.
Yeah.
Why not?
But then, Bruce starts, like, he comes in and starts talking to the Joker. And, they're having a little conversation, and Bruce kind of goes a little bit crazy, and then the Joker shoots him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we think he's dead, but
he's not.
He's not, because he had taken a little metal tray and stuck it in his shirt.
For protection.
To stop the bullet. And the Joker left a box for Vicki, and she opens the box, and it's like a Jack in the Box with the dead hand and roses. And dead roses.
How romantic.
So, Knox calls Vicki, they're sitting there together, and he tells her about the murder of Bruce's parents and how he was there and everything. And I did write it down. The crime was in I think 1977, if I remember writing it down right. And then the alley was Pearl and Phelps, the alley behind Pearl and Streets and Phelps Street.
Oh, okay.
The mayor has decided to cancel the 200th celebration of Gotham because of the issues with the Joker at the moment. But then the Joker, of course, interrupts.
Totally interrupts everything.
Says that they're still going to have the celebration, and that at 12 a.m. he is going to drop $20 million in cash on the crowd. And that he's calling out Batman to come and fight him to see who's the better person. I'm like, well.
We're not saying the Joker's,
Yeah.
He's a mess.
Yeah. So then we see Bruce, he's looking at the file on his parents, because of course he has all the news reports and everything from when his parents died. And then we get the flashback, and it's very similar to the very beginning of the movie with the kid and his parents. They're coming out of the theater, and little Bruce is with his parents. His parents get mugged and robbed, and this guy says something that the Joker had said earlier, which made him realize that the guy that killed his parents is also the Joker.
Joker, yeah. Is it like the Dance of the Devil thing or something?
Yeah. Which, that's not actually canon. Like, that doesn't actually happen in comics, but, I mean, it's a good way to connect it.
Yeah, it does.
So, yeah. Vicki comes into the Batcave and, just somehow automatically knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. I don't even know where she got this information from.
It's like, haha, surprise, I know.
Yeah. But then she tells about, you need to go save the city and all this and that, and they're having a discussion about it. So he goes to Access Chemicals first, and his Batmobile shields itself and then drops a bomb and kind of completely destroys Access Chemicals. So there goes Joker's stash of cosmetic things. And then we see kind of this mini parade thing, and it's the Joker's celebration where he's going to drop the money on the crowd and everything. Because he's trying to gain all the citizens' trust by giving them money.
Well, I mean, that's one way to do it.
It's true. But yeah, everybody's all throwing... All his goons are throwing money into the crowd. Vicki Vale and Alexander Knox show up, and they're trying to get people to not stay there.
They're like, this is totally not a good thing. Go away.
So then the Joker's balloons start releasing a gas. And then Knox and Vale are really trying to get people out of there, but they're too concerned with the money.
Yeah.
But so Batman shows up in his Batwing, which is the plane.
Yes.
And he uses the plane to take the balloons away to make sure that the city isn't gassed and all killed and everything. And the Joker is upset. So he's mad at Bob because Bob was supposed to take care of Batman.
That didn't happen, of course.
So the Joker shoots Bob. And then the goons all chase people around, and they're running after all the citizens and everything. And then, so Joker's standing it's kind of like almost the same face-off that happens in The Dark Knight between the Joker and Batman, but this time it's with the Batwing instead of the Batbike.
Yeah, that's right.
This is a little standoff thing. But then Joker takes out this really long gun and shoots.
It's like ridiculously long. It's like, really?
It's like 3 feet long almost. I'm like, what in the world?
It's ridiculous. How big this, like a pistol or something?
Yeah.
There's like, you're just doing this just for fun.
Yeah.
It's just too ridiculous.
But so the Joker shoots the plane and it crashes. So Vicki goes over to the crash and is like trying to make sure that Bruce is okay.
There's no one in there, right?
Yeah, nobody's in there. Because he somehow managed to get out, but then he's like hiding because he knew the Joker was going to come over there to see if he was dead or not. But so, since Vicky's over there, the Joker takes her hostage and they go all the way up to the really tall church roof.
Yeah.
Like, super freaking tall for no reason.
It's a cathedral, so I mean, they're pretty big, really tall.
They're not that big, though. Like, I've seen some, and this one, they, like, blew it out of proportion, I think.
I don't know, I've seen some pretty tall ones.
Yeah. I just feel like it's dramatic effect.
Probably.
So, Batman crawls from the rubble and follows them into the church and climbs, as I wrote in my notes, tall ass church.
Tall ass church. I like it.
Yeah, that was... So he starts climbing and he's going up. And the police arrive a little bit after Batman goes up. And Joker aims his little acid flower, which I really like that they did this because it's such a classic Joker thing.
Totally.
So he aims his little acid flower and drops the bell. And it just barely misses Batman, but then the cops are all down at the bottom and they're about to go in to climb the stairs, but then the bell kind of falls in, so they can't.
Yeah, it destroys the stairway, right?
Yeah, it destroys most of the stairs, but Batman still makes it up to the top. And then Joker's goons are fighting Batman, and there's just like this whole big fight scene, but while Batman and the goons are fighting, Joker is just, like, dancing around with Vicki like a weirdo. And it's just weird.
It's the Joker. I mean, you can't expect anything sane to go on.
Yeah. And then, so, the Joker pulls out a gun, and we don't know that it's fake, but he's, like, aiming it, and then he shoots it, and it's just one of those ones that just sends out the flag with the bang. This is a fake one.
I always like that part.
Batman's still fighting a few goons, and then Vicki sees Batman, and so she's, like, trying to distract the Joker, so she starts acting like she's into the Joker, and is, like, kissing him, and this and that and the other, and saying, oh, you're so handsome, and oh, I don't know why I didn't see it before, all that crap. And then Batman attacks the Joker, and they start fighting, and they get over to the edge of the roof, and Batman pushes Joker, but he catches himself on the gargoyle, and then he pulls Vicki and Batman down, and they barely catch themselves. And then the Joker's like walking around on the little ledge above them, trying to knock them off. And then Joker's goons come up in his chopper and, like, send the little rope ladder down and are trying to get him to escape.
Yeah.
But Batman hooks his little...
grappling hook.
On the Joker's foot and hooks it up to the gargoyle. And it pulls the gargoyle off of the building.
And of course, the Joker's caught on it, so...
And that's probably like a 500-pound... statue of a gargoyle.
Yeah.
So...
pretty heavy.
It pulls the Joker off the ladder, and then Joker falls.
And just falls and falls and falls.
Yep. And then, Batman and Vicki are falling, but Batman catches him with a gadget. 'Cause, you know, that's what he does.
Of course. It's Batman.
But then down on the ground, the cops see the Joker, and you just see him there with his big old grin, and he's got that noise, it's like laughing. It's that thing.
Yeah.
That noise thing. And then they find it's just a little noisemaker. So the Joker is dead in this scenario. Then they hold a press conference and say that the city is safe for now.
For now. I mean, Gotham gets into a lot of shit.
Well, I mean, somebody brought up a good point. It's in one of these superhero movies that you get a superhero and then all the crazies come out.
That's true.
And then the city is never safe again.
Nah.
But then, there is a letter to the city from Batman saying that as long as he's around, he will protect Gotham, and that they can signal him whenever they want. And then they unveil the bat signal.
Yeah.
Which I think is so cool. And then we see Alfred picking up Vicki, because she's got a date with Bruce. And then we see Batman on the roof. And that's the end of the movie.
He's staring off, watching Gotham.
Yeah. So, the music in this, there's two different people that did the music. The instrumental stuff was all Danny Elfman. He was the composer for it. He's just an amazing composer. Like, him and Tim Burton worked together a lot.
Oh, yeah. So much.
They're like the dynamic duo.
Ha.
But yeah, so Danny Elfman is known for The Nightmare Before Christmas. He worked in the music department for that. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory from 2005. He was the composer for that music. The Corpse Bride from 2005. He worked in the music department. And then Men in Black from 1997. He composed that.
Did you know he composed the Simpsons theme song?
Yeah. Yeah, I did know that. Yeah, he does a lot, and it's just like, I don't ever have any complaints about his music. I just love it.
It's so funny. There's this, College Humor did a skit about Tim Burton and Danny Elfman, how Danny Elfman just makes up the music, like, right on the spot. It's, like, the same kind of, like, different beats and everything. It's great.
Yeah. And then the other person that did a lot of music for this was Prince.
Oh, yeah. A lot of Prince songs.
Yeah. Prince was, like, the main spokesperson for Batman. So it's kind of cool. And I think it's kind of cool that his music will live on forever with Batman.
Agreed.
Like, not that his music wouldn't live on forever without Batman, but those two are paired together, and I think it's kind of cool.
It's a nice combination.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it would work, but it does.
Yeah. So, comparison, there is a ton of stuff to kind of compare it to, so I don't really want to, just because there's so much.
There's a lot.
There's so much Batman stuff. But one thing that Sean was saying, because he was watching this with me, he was like, we don't know Joker's origin. I was like, they did know Joker's origin. There is one story of Joker's origin at this point. So, the Killing Joke came out in March of 1988, which is a year before this came out. So they did have that source material to go off of to give Joker an origin, and they do kind of follow it to give Joker his origin.
Yeah.
The only difference, really, I mean, there's quite a bit, but one of the, like, major differences is that he wasn't really a gangster crime person.
No.
Before he was the Joker, he was he was trying to be a comedian. At least that's how it was in The Killing Joke. So, but that's really the only thing that I kind of wanted to say, because Sean brought it up. He's like, well, there's this. I was like, yeah, but that came out first, so he was testing me. I'm pretty sure he was testing me. But yeah. And then trivia.
Like, if you got anything.
I do have one. So when I went to Warner Brothers Studios, we got to see all of the Batmobiles, including the one in this movie. And they told us, I thought it was kind of cool, none of the Batmobiles can drive faster than, like, 15, 20 miles an hour.
That's awesome.
They all are super slow because that way they can get the shots they need on them. And if they ever have them, like, going faster than that, it's all just computer generated. And then, one other thing, it's not really trivia, it's just something that people always say, is, so, one of Batman's major rules is that he never kills, but literally in every single Batman movie, Batman kills someone.
Whoops.
In this movie, he killed 6 people.
You counted.
Yeah, I counted. In the 1960s Batman movie with Adam West, he kills 2 people. You know, it's just, he kills someone in all of them, and everybody, like, makes a big deal, like, especially, the new, Batman versus Superman. He killed a ton of people in that one, so people were, like, freaking out. I'm like, just go look at literally every other Batman movie. He has killed at least one person in every single one of them. Like, so I just needed to say that. I'm like, he killed people in all of them.
I mean, even if you didn't, like, try to do it on purpose.
Yeah, he still did it.
Still did it.
Yeah.
I always remembered that. I was like,
Yeah.
Didn't he kill some people, though?
Yeah.
Didn't even follow his own rule? Come on, Batman. Get it together.
Yeah.
Alright, so I have a couple. Let's see. So Jack Nicholson took percentage of the film gross.
Okay.
And that was like $60 million he got.
Wow.
Yeah, which is like, that's just from one actor. Like, gross that much. So that's probably like one of the biggest sums of a salary for an actor.
That's crazy.
What was the other one? Oh, like this one, they're talking about Harvey Dent and Two-Face. So, because Billy D. Williams does it in this movie. He's Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
And he's not Two-Face. So, what that happened is that Warner Brothers liked Tommy Lee Jones better, and so they bought out Williams' contract.
Oh, man.
That's why.
Well, I mean, it was a different director at that point, so, I mean, I can kind of understand changing.
The thing is, there was a clause in his contract that he would do it, but then they bought him out.
Because they just liked the way... I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked the way Tommy Lee Jones portrayed Two-Face, but it's just, I really kind of wanted to see this other guy do it.
Billy D. Williams. Classic. Lando Calrissian, if y'all didn't know that.
Yeah, the guy in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
So you got any other trivia?
Not really. I mean, unless you have some more, there's not much. Because it's just, like, a lot of, like, different things.
If I remember correctly, so, you know how when Batman's, like, looking around, he can't really turn his head too much? That was, like, a real thing. That whole suit, when Michael Keaton was wearing that suit, he didn't have the ability to turn his head. He had to turn his whole body to look.
Yeah, he was really claustrophobic in his suit.
Yeah.
Like, he could barely hear in it either.
I think, if I remember correctly, they did change it, like, change the material that they used for the second one, for Batman Returns, but I can't remember.
I mean, it would make sense, because the costume's not very easy to move in.
Yeah. But that's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get, like, too crazy into all the trivia with Batman, so.
Yeah, there's just too much.
There's a lot. Like, a lot.
So, favorite line? I've got a lot.
I'll let you go first.
I'm Batman.
Classic.
My friend, your luck is about to change. Alfred's a great one. Couldn't find my socks without him. I've been dead once already. It's very liberating. You should think of it as therapy. Gotham City always brings a smile to my face. The pen is truly mightier than the sword.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when he kills Vinny, because he kills him with the pen.
It's like, cha!
Can someone tell me what kind of world we live in that a man dressed as a bat gets all of my press? She's about to trade up. This one I think is like one of the best ones. I'm the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist.
Oh, that's a great line. Functioning, there's the word.
Where does he get those wonderful toys? I might have some trouble with that. Some people say you're as dangerous as the Joker. All of Gotham wondering what to make of Batman, friend or foe. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? I've taken off my makeup. Let's see if you can take off yours. I just thought that was funny because when he says that, he had to put on makeup to cover it up. Those are my balloons. When Batman steals the balloons.
Yeah.
Joker and Batman talking. You made me. I made you. You made me first. Because technically they both made each other, because in this, Jack kills Batman's parents making Batman, and then Batman lets Joker fall into the chemicals making Joker, so.
Yeah. Kind of.
Go ahead.
You're good. Go ahead.
I was just going to read my next line.
Go for it.
This is my last one.
Okay.
Public safety in Gotham is no longer a laughing matter.
Ha. Nice. Alright. I just have like 2.
Okay.
Because you took the most of mine. Because the Joker has really good lines.
Yeah, he does.
So, this one. But as my plastic surgeon always said, if you gotta go, go with the smile.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And then, of course, because it references like one of my favorite movies. As though we were made for each other. Beauty and the Beast. Of course, if anyone else calls you a beast, I'll rip their lungs out.
I don't even know.
You're the Batman expert, so I'll let you go for it.
I think just because it always comes up, all of Gotham wondering what to make of Batman, friend or foe.
Ah. I like it.
It's like, because that's what the theme always is in, like, every Batman movie. You don't...
Every Batman.
Alright. So, what's your rating?
For Batman, let me think about this. I think we're going to give it a solid 7. Solid 7, yeah. I mean, it does show its age quite a bit sometimes.
Yeah.
You do realize it is from the 1980s.
Yeah.
The ending's not the greatest. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bland ending.
It is kind of blah. But I do like the Joker.
Yeah.
He totally, like, makes up for everything.
Yeah. Well, he does that. Like, no matter what. That's just what the Joker does. Even though he's a homicidal maniac.
Exactly.
I gave it an 8. It's pretty much the same reasons you did. I just gave it a point higher because it's Batman.
Batman.
But yeah, it just... There's a few bits of the... of it that don't hold up because of the age. And then also the ending is just kind of there. There's no big ending to it.
Like all the other superhero movies that we're used to.
We're used to big endings with superhero movies. So, like, I mean, The Incredibles, we just talked about that. They end with another villain coming in. So, you know, it just this one just kind of ends.
Yes.
All right. So our next film, we're gonna skip from DC over to Marvel, and we're gonna talk about the very first movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Iron Man.
Phase 1 and everything.
Yes.
I was like, I picked Iron Man.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So we will talk about that one in just a couple minutes. Bye.
Bye.